Okay, so now we know a little bit more about how the small basic tool works, but we do want to contend with some of these files that are generated as soon as we run a small basic program, and this is always going to happen. So basically, when I ran that program, I got a mess on the desktop. So knowing what I know now, next time I create a program, I'll create a brand new program here by clicking the new button, and then when I go to save that program, and this will be a good habit to get into, I'm going to, before I save the program file, I'm about to create a new program, I'm going to create a new folder by clicking this button. Okay, so I'll put a new folder on the desktop. I'll just accept that default name, and I'm going to get into that folder, and let's say this is the second program, so we'll save that. Okay? And then I'm going to, I copied that code, I'll just paste the first program into this one. And when I run the program this time, the second program, that mess is contained in the folder. So that would probably be a good way of handling this semester. Every time you sit down to write a new program, create a new folder first, save your program file into that folder, and then all the files will be contained and kept together. Now, speaking of these files, which are important, really only this one. The one with the colored shapes on it, that is your code file. That is the one that you'll turn into me when you're doing a homework assignment or taking an exam. That's the file with all of your hard work in it. So that's really the only file that you really have to care about. The rest of them, as you know, are generated in a single mouse click when you run your program. So those are not terribly important. And even if I were to wipe them all out and delete them, okay, as soon as I run that program, again, they're back. Okay, so that's why those are obviously much less important than the code file. So the code file is the only one that you really have to care about. I do want to talk about this file here. That's the executable file, or the exe file. And basically, when I run a program, okay, the code file is not the one that's actually running. Here's the program, I'm looking at it, this is the program running in memory that I just wrote. This is the executable file running. Your code file is not the one that actually is loaded into memory and running. It's the executable that does that. And I know that's subtle, and you may not care about these subtleties at this point, but basically, when we type in code, code such as this, we type typically in English. Even though this is not grammatically correct, it's still English. Text, window, foreground color, those are English words. The computer does not speak English, okay? The computer speaks in strings of numbers. So in order for the computer to be able to run our code that we typed in English, the code has got to be compiled, as we say. So you hear that term a lot in programming. When code is compiled, it is, basically run through and translated or converted to the machine language that the computer can actually understand and run. And when a program is compiled, when code is compiled, the result is an executable file, that exe file. So when you buy a software package, for example, Microsoft Word, they're selling you the executable file, in addition to other files that come with it, but they're not selling you their code. They keep the code. You can't look at that code. The code has been compiled, and the result is an executable, and that is what people buy. Okay, so this file, like I said, is the most important. This is what you'll submit when you're submitting a homework assignment. If you have already used Blackboard and you're comfortable with the digital Dropbox, then you can probably stop watching now, but if this is your first time, I'll show you real quickly. I'll pull up Blackboard, and you'll basically go into the tools. If you're submitting a homework assignment, go into the tools and select the digital Dropbox. Okay? I have to go in a different way because I'm an instructor, but that's what you'll click. And then when you click that, you will see something like this: an add file and a send file button. Sorry, I thought I would zoom on that. Okay, an add file and a send file button. Very importantly, when you're sending homework to me or an exam or anything that you want me to receive, you've got to do a send, not an add. Sending will send it to me. Adding will add it to your own personal, private Blackboard space, which I do not have access to. So I will not see the file. I'll just have to assume that you didn't do it if it's a homework assignment. So be careful and click send there when you're sending homework. Okay, and then when you're going to submit, once you click the send button, you will see this screen, and you can type in, you don't have to type your name. You're logged into Blackboard as yourself, so I'll see who the file is coming from, but what you could do is, like, if it's homework 1 or your first homework assignment, maybe just type homework 1 in the name, or exam 1, just a short description of what you're submitting to me in the name field would be nice. And then you will click browse, and you're going to find, let's say I'm submitting this file for homework, you're going to find that small basic program file, the one with the SB extension. That's the only one we really care about, and the one with the colored shapes on it. So that is the one that you'll browse for. And then it's kind of like sending an email attachment. You browse for it, you click OK. You don't have to put a comment there. If there's something that you want me to know about your program, or you want me to take a close look at something, if you had trouble with something, you can put it in the comments. But for the most part, you don't have to put a comment there. And then when you're done with that, submit. And you could rest assured that it came through to me. If you're ever in doubt, go ahead and shoot me an email and ask. But for the most part, I found the digital Dropbox to be very reliable. And of course, if there's ever any mishap or whatnot, I would certainly give the student the benefit of the doubt. So, but you can rest assured, like I said, it's pretty reliable.